You ever wonder how some companies just seem to get it? Like they can read your mind and they know exactly what you want even before you do? Well, I'm here to tell you it's not magic. It's a specific, repeatable process for uncovering what customers truly need, not just what they say they want. And in this explainer, we are going to break down exactly how they do it. Okay, take a look at this, the Nest Learning Thermostat. I mean, before Nest came along, who really gave a second thought to their thermostat, right? It was just that beige box on the wall. But the folks at Nest, they understood our unstated frustrations. The nightmare of programming the thing, the wasted energy. They literally solved a problem most of us didn't even realize was a problem. And boy, did the market notice. Just 3 years. 3 after their first product launched, Google swooped in and bought Nest Labs for a staggering $3.2 billion. That's the kind of value you create when you truly understand your customer on a much deeper level. It is an absolute game changer. So, this is the big question, isn't it? How do you invent the next Nest? How do you tap into those hidden desires that people have but can't quite put into words? Well, it all starts with understanding one really powerful idea. And that big idea is latent needs. Think of these as the needs that are kind of simmering just below the surface. Your customers don't walk around thinking about them, so, they can't tell you about them in a survey. But when a product comes along and solves one, that reaction is just pure delight. It feels like magic. Let's look at a few examples out in the wild. Seriously, think about it. Before the year 2000, were people marching in the streets demanding cameras on their phones? Of course not. But that need to capture and share a moment instantly, that was always there. Same thing with asking a speaker for the weather or having your car trunk pop open when your hands are full of groceries. These things didn't just improve a product, they fulfilled a need we didn't know we had. So, and this is the crucial point. Uncovering these needs isn't about some lucky guess or a random stroke of genius from a visionary. No way. It's a structured, repeatable process. And right now, we're going to walk through the 5 steps of that exact process. Here's the roadmap. Simple, right? We start by gathering all the raw information. Then we interpret it, organize it all into a logical structure, figure out what's most important, and finally, we reflect on the whole thing to get even better next time. So let's jump in at the beginning. All right, step 1, gathering raw data. You can think of this as the art of listening. And the goal here is super simple. Create a pure, unfiltered information channel directly from the customer to your team. That's it. Now, there are a couple of ways to do this, but the 2 most common are interviews and focus groups. A focus group, it brings maybe 8 to 12 customers together in a special room. But an interview, that's much more intimate. It's one-on-one. And crucially, it often takes place in the customer's actual environment, in their home or office, where the problems and the needs really live. And this slide right here shows why that method really matters. The data here is comparing 1-hour interviews to 2-hour focus groups. See that line for the interviews? It shoots up way more steeply. That means you identify way more customer needs for every hour of your team's time. It's just a much more efficient way to get to the good stuff. Okay, so you've done your interviews, you've gathered all this raw data. Now what? You've just got a pile of notes. Well, steps 2 and 3 are where we turn all that chaos into pure clarity. This is the kind of thing you hear in an interview. A real, unfiltered, verbatim statement from a customer. You can just hear the Nest team listening to something like this, right? It's emotional, it's honest, but you can't exactly hand that to an engineer. So what do you do with it? You translate it. You interpret the raw feeling behind the words into a clear, precise need. So for the Nest team, a statement like, "I'm too lazy," becomes a design principle. The thermostat requires little or no user instruction or learning. See that? This is the art of interpretation, turning a customer's story into an actionable insight. Now, there are some pretty strict rules for writing these need statements to make sure they're actually useful. This table lays them out perfectly. For example, instead of saying the product is versatile, which means nothing, you have to be specific. It can control separate heating and cooling systems. And this one's huge. You always focus on the what, not the how. The need is to control it remotely, not to have an iPhone app. The solution comes way later. So after you've translated all those customer statements, you're going to have this massive list, dozens, maybe hundreds of needs. Step 3 is all about organizing them. You start grouping similar needs together, creating this hierarchy from the big primary needs down to the smaller secondary ones. And what you end up with is a clean, organized map of your customer's mind. It's an actionable blueprint for your entire team. All right, we're on to the final steps. ranking and reflecting. You've got your beautiful map of needs, but let's be real, you can't tackle everything at once. This is where you have to get serious about prioritizing. So just picture it. You're looking at a list with anywhere from 50 to 300 distinct needs, and they all seem important. So how in the world do you decide what to focus on? Where do you invest your precious time and money? Well, you go back to the customer, but this time you do it with surveys. As you can see here, you ask a much larger group to rate how important each need is. But here's the secret sauce, that little checkbox. You also ask them if a need is unexpected or exciting. That is how you zero in on those latent needs, the ones that are going to truly surprise and delight people. And finally, step 5, reflect. Look, this whole process is not an exact science, so this final step is a critical gut check. It's a chance for the team to challenge their own assumptions, to question their findings, and to think about how they can make this whole process even better the next time around. And these are exactly the kinds of questions a team should be asking. Did we actually talk to the right people? Do we get stuck thinking about our current product instead of what's possible in the future? Who else in our company really needs to see these results? It's all about that cycle of continuous improvement. So when you put this all together, this 5-step process, it's not just some methodology from a textbook. It's basically a product development superpower. It gives you a reliable, repeatable way to get to the heart of what truly matters. So let's just recap the big takeaways here. First, true innovation isn't an accident. It's a process. You have to focus on the customer's problem, the what, not your brilliant solution. Listen for stories, translate their raw language into crystal clear needs, and then you have to prioritize ruthlessly based on what really matters to them. And this quote just says it all, doesn't it? Following this method ensures your product is absolutely laser-focused on what customers actually need. It keeps you from missing something critical. That one thing that could be the difference between a total flop and a billion-dollar success. So I'll leave you with this question to chew on. Think about a product you use every single day, one you absolutely can't live without. Now, try to look past all the features and ask yourself, what unspoken, latent need does this thing really solve for me? The answer might just surprise you.